Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to this card making project. In this episode we're going to make a gorgeous Easter Anna Griffin card. We're going to use lots of goodies from Anna Griffin and we're going to incorporate the all four corner dies as well, and we're going to use them in a little bit of a different way. So everything I do use will always be listed on my blog, so please be sure to check it out. Now you can always comment on Facebook and you can always comment on my blog, and if you've got any questions you're always best to ask me through Facebook. If you comment and want to reply, don't do it on YouTube because my replies disappear. There's a glitch on my account, I've had it for ages, and I'm still finding people asking me questions on there. I can't answer you because if I do and the reply disappears it makes me look rude. So you can always contact me directly or through Facebook. So there's an option for everybody. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram as well. All the details are at the end of the video. Please click like if you like the videos. Please share them. I'm happy for you to share them with your crafty friends. If you're going to share them on a website for business purposes, please contact me just to get approval though. Okay, housekeeping over. So the first thing that we're going to need is our base card. Now this is a 7x5 inch card. It's my favourite size of card. And look what's back. This is my cardometer. Now we've not used it for a few weeks, only because we've been doing the other projects and we had the mini-series last week and I just thought it wasn't appropriate. So this is my cardometer. I've designed it and I've created it to give you perspective at home of the size of card that I'm using. Now this is a 7x5 card, and for my friends across the pond they call it a 5x7. I think it's the perfect size of card to be able to decorate, whether you're a new crafter or a more advanced crafter. The A4 is the biggest size, A5 is the A4 folded in half, then we go down to the 7x5 and then we go down to the A6. Now I know my friends across the pond call these something different, however it's still a good perspective to be able to see the size that we're going to use. So this is a standard ivory 7x5 inch card, and I'm simply using my bone folder to make sure I've got a good sharp score at the top. And the first thing we're going to do is decorate the inside. And before I forget, always stamp the back or write your name on the back of your cards, just so the recipient knows who's made the card for them. I date mine as well, only because that's the date that the project's released, and it's like this is today's date, so I know when I look back at my cards what date it was, so that I can keep them for future reference. Okay, so the inside of our card. Now we're going to do something just that little bit different first. Just before we work directly on the inside, we're going to work away from the inside for a minute. I've cut a piece of ivory cardstock. Now this will fit the inside of the card, and I've just cut it 1/2 inch shorter so that we've got 1/4 inch width all the way around. I've tapped it with an ink pad, and it's just a general dark blue ink pad. Nothing special. It was just a general ink pad, so it could be any ink pad that you use. So the first thing that I've done, now I've used my Xyron machine for these. I've taken 2 squares of the spring plaid cardstock and I've cut them in half. So I've just cut them into triangles, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to make false corners. So that basically means not folding them over. I've just taken the shape and I'm going to stick it onto the corner. I've taken them through the Xyron machine for the adhesive on the back, and I'm simply positioning them into the 4 corners of my insert panel. Now this is simply because I wanted to give it just that little bit of something extra. I didn't really know what to do for the inside of this card, and I sometimes think if you're struggling to work out what to do, just do something easy but effective. And this, I think, is a great idea that will work with anything, and all you would have to do is just use the paper or the cardstock that you've used on the front just to marry it in, and it just gives that little bit of something extra. And that's not quite straight, so I'm going to trim that. Just take that little bit away like so. So now I've got all 4 corners. Now, because I'm a rebel, I'm going to use some of the favourite flower stickers, and I've left them as 3D stickers. I haven't taken away the top layer, because most times I use them flat for the inside. But today I'm thinking, let's live a little and do something a little bit different and keep them as 3D stickers. So I've got the 2 Morning Glory stickers. Sorry, the 1 sticker with the 2 Morning Glory on. And then I've got a smaller one which looks more like a carnation to me. And I'm just going to add that just slightly down a little bit. And then I've taken some of the Anna Griffin metallic pink cardstock, and I've stamped it using one of the stamps from the Easter Love seasonal stamps. Now, this was a stamp set from, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, but it's very useful and there's lots of great sentiments in it, and especially with, it's titled Easter and / love, so there's lots of Easter things in it. But I've chosen for the inside, sending lots of love. Now, the die that I've used is from the Anna Griffin Sentiment Stamp and Die set, and it's the scallop circle for the sentiments, but I just decided I wanted that for our cardstock for the inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply stick that over the base of the flowers that we've stuck in the centre. Press that down with it having the Xyron, and now we've still got lots of room for our messages, for our to and from, and just put that straight a little bit, there we go. So now we can go ahead and add that to the inside of our card. And if I thought about it, I could just take that little edge off if you didn't want the tail of the flower on there. So now I can just take the tape away from the back of our insert panel. So the only reason I've done it away from the card was because I wanted to get the corners in the right position so that they wouldn't hang over the edge and that they would just be in the corners for adding our 4 corners. So that's our inside. Now that's going to match perfectly. Keep going back to this little bit, so I might snip that off for our photos for the inside, but I shall leave it for now. So now we can do the outside. I'm going to use my bone folder again just to make sure we've got a nice sharp crease along the top of the card, so that when it's stood on a mantelpiece it'll stand up nice and straight and sharp. So the outside of the card. Now the first thing I have is a piece of the spring plaid from Anna Griffin. Now it comes with the 7x5 pieces of cardstock as well as the 12x12, and I've taken one of the 7x5 pieces and I'm going to put this over the front of my card, and I've just slightly moved it so that I can get it straight across the front. There we go, because it's difficult to see from behind the camera. So that's our base layer for our card. Now our next layer for the card is I've used the 4 corner dies. I've used the heart die, and what I've done is I've used one of Anna's metallic layers from the 7x5 collection, and I've simply added the die to each corner of the cardstock. I've used washi tape to keep it in position. I've die cut it, and then I've embossed it, and then I turned the cardstock round. I did the same again to the other side, but with this section hanging out of the actual plates from my machine, from my die cutting machine. So then I was able to die cut this and emboss it without it affecting this side. And I did a tutorial a few weeks ago about cutting the 4 corner dies, and it shows you exactly how to do it for the on the Empress. So if I can find a link, I'll show you, I'll add that so that you can see how to cut the 4 corner dies. But once you've seen it, then you think, oh yes, it's a bit of a aha moment. So I've got this on flat tape, and I'm going to add this as our first layer on our base layer, like so. And I'm simply just adding that through the centre of our card. Next, what I've done is I've cut a piece of pink metallic cardstock, and I've used the 2 corner dies at each end, again, through it, and I've simply got flat tape on the back of this, and I'm going to add this through the centre of our card, like so. There we go. Now I've also used the corner die again, but instead of cutting it, instead of leaving it on one piece, I've actually cut it down. Now the thing for me is you can use scraps for this. Scraps of cardstock will work great. I've cut it down, used the die, and I'm simply going to position that through the centre at the bottom, covering that little blank section that we had. And then I've done the same again for the top. Now if you're using scrap, and if for any reason, I'm going to point this out, if for any reason you die cut it just slightly off, like I have here, don't worry about it because we're going to cover that, so that doesn't matter. So I've made a second piece that I've die cut, so we've pieced that together, and I mean already that looks fantastic. Those layers and the die cuts just look so pretty, and the colourway, the lemon, the blue and the pink, very spring-like. So next I've used the lace edge die, and this is the smallest of the lace edge dies in the collection from Anna Griffin, and I've die cut the spring plaid again. I've got 3D foam on the back of it, and I'm simply going to add this through the centre of our card, so it's covering a lot of the die cut up, but you can still see the edge of it, and that's what it's all about for the layers. So I'm pressing that down. My next layer is again from the lace edge dies. So our previous layer was the shadow die, and this is the lace die. I've cut it out of the metallic cardstock, the same pink metallic cardstock that I've used for the second layer of the corner dies. So I'm just adding that over the top so you can see how it's layered up now nicely. So next, from the Easter Love Stamp selection, like we used the one for the centre, for this I've used the frame, the oval frame, and I've used the Happy Easter stamp. Now I've actually used Anna's Chalkboard Blue stamp, ink pad. Now this was in a collection quite a long time ago, but it just works so well with the blue from the metallic 7x5 layers. So what I did was I stamped it, and then I've heat embossed it using clear embossing powder, only because I wanted a little bit of a shimmer. I didn't have to heat emboss it, so if you don't heat emboss it doesn't matter. And then I've used the Happy Easter stamp from the same collection, the Easter Love seasonal stamps. I've got flat tape on the back of it, and I'm just going to add it in the centre over the previous layer of the lace edge die. So that's for the centre for our sentiment. Next I'm going to take some flowers from the Favourite Flower collection. Now I've got the Morning Glory flowers, And these are stickers. So all I'm doing is peeling the back off. I've got 2 little foam pads at one side just to be able to keep it even on the card. I've taken another one of the flower stickers. Again, peel the back off. I've just got 1 little foam dot there just to, again, keep it all nice and even. And I'm adding these around the sentiment in the centre. And then I've also taken one of the lemon carnations. Again, peel the back away. Now I'm going to do exactly the same for the other side and add exactly the same flowers. So the Morning Glory at the top, and then the next one, there we go, just peel the back away, and then the final flower with the carnation. I think it looks like a carnation. Peel the back away, there we go, and add that, there we go. And then I can finish the card with a little bow at the bottom of the sentiment there, and that was on 3D foam. And that is our Easter card finished. So we've got the inside of our card where we've got enough room to write on. We've got the flowers, we've got our faux corners that tie in from the spring plaid cardstock, to the outside with all those gorgeous layers, the corners. We've used them not only for the corners but for the centres as well. Stands up perfectly. What a pretty card. And those colours, lemon, blue and pink, all work so well together. I just hope this has given you a good idea for your Easter cards, or for any, for any occasion you could use this, just change your sentiment. So please be sure to check my blog. Please give me the thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, if you like the card. And I'd just like to say thank you so much for watching. I shall see you next time.